Let's see if it works. Excellent. So yeah, so as I said, it's about after you've covered things like mitosis and meiosis, asexual and sexual reproduction, what is the benefit to organisms? When do they use it? All those kind of things. So what and there's a couple of things. This is a really good topic because it really merges into things like uh, production of crops. I know that doesn't seem like a big issue to you guys. Some of you may head down into farming or growing your own things, but it really teaches you a lot about that. Okay, so um, just as a summary, so I've written this up as a summary of things. Reproduction is how things make more of themselves, how we make copies of our species, for want of a better word. There are two main types, sexual and asexual. Now, sexual reproduction involves two parents. It creates offsprings that are a mix of both parents. This leads to variation. Now, variation is a word that's very easy to accept that you know what it means. And one way of looking at it is the human population is very varied. And I can say that because everybody is different, right? Now, genetically, everybody's different, except if you've got twins or triplets or something like that. But everybody's different. And you can see that because you are different from your parents. Unless you're a twin, you are different from your siblings. This is what I mean by least of variation. Humans reproduce sexually. We do not make exact copies of ourselves. We don't clone ourselves. And that's the benefit of it. It leads to variation. And this is not only true of humans, it is true of every species on this planet, right? And what it does, and I want to be careful, it helps species. It doesn't help individuals adapt. It helps a population adapt to new environments. If you think about disease, if you think about things like malaria is a nasty, nasty disease and kills a lot of people. However, there is variation in people. And some people actually are immune to malaria. Um, now, and because of that variation, because that differences within a population, it allows the population to survive changes in the environment. It doesn't allow the individual. If you're born and you're not immune, and you're not immune to malaria, it doesn't make a difference. You cannot evolve. You will die. Well, modern medicine probabilities you won't. But my point I'm really saying is you can't change your own genes. Okay, but the population has lots of different gene combinations, lots of variation, right? So if a new disease comes along, some individuals might have a natural defense against it because we are all slightly different, not just the way we look, but also our biochemistry, what happens inside us. The problem with sexual reproduction is it takes a lot of time and energy. One of the big engines is finding a mate. This is not that easy. When you look at something which I think is stunning is birds. Birds have to, the males have to sing the right song. They are more colourful than the females. They have to do a display. That's a lot of investment in finding a mate. The other thing is, for certain species, one of my favorite species is the really common cool name for it is the ghost leopard, and it lives in northern Pakistan, and it is an absolutely stunning animal, amazingly camouflaged. But because it's the Himalayas, there's not that much food, so they're very spread out. So an organism like that, an animal that predominantly lives alone, it's really hard for them to find a mate for someone to breed with. Now, humans, um, we use sexual reproduction in selective breeding. What that means is, now I have huskies. I love huskies. They're amazing. And you selectively breed. This is sexual reproductions. Huskies breed by sexual reproduction, but we only breed from our huskies that we would want to keep. So they're bred on behavior, intelligence, and sheer naughtiness. And that's called selective breeding. I am selecting which one of my huskies will breed. Right? We also do it with plants. We grow cherries, walnuts, almonds. This year we're planting a whole lot of trees. We will pick the best trees that we like, that make the tastiest food, like my favorite strawberries, and we are selectively breeding them. We are going to take the plants that we like, we are going to take the animals we like, and we're going to allow them to breed. Now, asexual reproduction only has one parent, right? The offspring are identical copies of the parent. They are clones. The biggest advantage is speed. They don't have to find a mate. They don't have to make gametes. I looked at meiosis last week. And what it means is a population can grow very quickly if the conditions are right. But it is not the problem that it uses less energy. And you think, well, why not? Why don't all populations breed like this? It's way more energy efficient. One individual alone can breed. But the main problem is there's no variation. And if a disease hits that population, so let's say you've got 1,000 crop plants, and they're all, let me show you a picture. So this is called monoculture, and one plant that is very monocultured in southern America is palm oil plants, right? And it's a palm. It's a monoculture, and it is massive. And this is an actual picture of monoculture. And what I want you to think about is all these plants are the same. Every single one. All right? And if one is prone to one disease, it will kill all of them. And as you can see, there is little to no variation. All right? It doesn't look like a normal jungle. People look and go, oh, well, it's still green. It is green. Very green. But it is a monoculture. There is no variation at all. All right? Now, there are some very interesting organisms. I mentioned strawberries. They use both methods. But another one is malaria parasites. I've had malaria. It produces asexually inside humans, but sexually inside mosquitoes. All right? Many fungi and plants use both. For example, strawberry plants, hey, they use runners. Here's my strawberry plant. All right? And you can see you've got a parent and a runner, and then a new identical copy of the parent starts growing. All right? And that's something strawberries do. Okay. So, as per usual, you got easy questions. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to add to it before I forget. So I wanted to look at things like flowers and potatoes. So there are bulbs underground, but I look at potatoes. Well, potatoes are really interesting. They haven't, they didn't develop potatoes to feed us. So what happens is, in winter, the top part of the plant dies. And you're left with the potato underground. And in summer, and if you've got old potatoes lying around, I accidentally leave a bag of potatoes somewhere, and my wife tells me off. And when we see it, luckily we grow potatoes. And when they start budding, you can actually shove them underground, and you'll get two plants that are identical copies. The same thing happens with things like, we could grow garlic as well. Garlic does this. You stick a garlic in the ground, and it starts growing. But as it starts growing, it produces a lateral bud. Lateral means to the side. And this will form a new plant. But it's an identical copy. Okay, so fun-wise, easy questions. Just remember, all my easy questions are based on the text that I gave you. This is a topic that feeds into a lot of biology. Everything else generally gets harder after that, but you're all aware of that by now. All right, sweethearts, 9 minutes. Ooh, a little